Love, grit, and faith. These are all words that describe my grandma Burness Reed on my mom's side of the family, who I recently sat down with late last year during Thanksgiving 2024. She shared a lot about her childhood and events throughout her life that have ultimately shaped her into the inspiring woman she is today. Grandma Burness is tough as nails when it comes to enduring adversity, having lived through it her entire life. She grew up in a family of 6 children during the Great Depression back in the 1930s. She endured some of the harshest North Dakota winters and unfortunately lost one of her brothers in a wartime naval disaster during World War II. On top of all that, she lived through one of the greatest floods in modern American history. Yet through all of the adversity she faces, she continues to this day to thrive and inspire everyone in her universe with her faith and optimism. Personally, she's taught me so much ever since I was a little kid. I remember driving with our family some 12, 13, 14 hours, depending on the weather, every Christmas to visit her in her Grand Forks home. She's a beacon of love and faith, shaping our family to this day through her kindness, prayers, and unwavering faith. I'm super excited to share this conversation we had, and I hope you'll find it as interesting as I did in learning about this special woman and a time in her history that has shaped humanity in so many ways, many of which we can still see today. Hey, Grandma, how's it going?
Great. Good to see you, Chris.
Good to see you too, and thank you so much for doing this. Excited to learn more about you. Where did you grow up?
Well, I was born in St. John, North Dakota, and about that time my dad moved to Munich, North Dakota with his barber shop, and so 2 weeks old, I moved to Munich, North Dakota, where I was raised until I was about 12.
Oh, wow. Where is Munich, North Dakota at in relation to Grand Forks? Like, how far from Grand Forks is that?
Northwest. It's just a little tiny town up in close to the Canadian border, yeah.
Oh, wow.
North Dakota.
I know, what was it like? I know the Great Depression was happening around then, about the time you came into the world, and so it must have been just a really rough childhood for the first part of it.
As a child, we knew nothing about that because, childhood, you have fun and stuff. And I was the 5th child, and I remember playing outside and just having a wonderful time. We were not concerned about the Depression, but my parents were, of course, because things were really tough, yeah.
That's amazing that they managed to shield their children from that, shield you guys from that.
Right.
That you weren't any the wiser for the most part, it doesn't sound like.
We always had plenty to eat. I know some people didn't have, and my dad had a pool hall with a barber shop, and so a lot of times he would send a carton or a case of carnation milk to some of these families that did not have milk for their children. So he would do that for them. I remember hearing about that, yeah. And like I said, we were never hungry.
What were you doing for fun growing up?
Oh man, we played a lot of different things. I remember sitting up in the big tree in the yard and reading and stuff. It was a wonderful big tree. The usual kid games. We did a lot of tag and that type of thing.
Yeah, duck, goose?
We didn't have a lot of things to play with like they have now. They have everything now to play with. We didn't. We had a jump rope, just played tag and hide and seek and that type of thing.
Yeah, no video games?
No video games. What's that?
Yeah.
No.
And then what was your school experience like? Were you at a big school or a small school? Like
Very small school. Well, the town of Munich was only like 126 people.
Oh, wow.
Little.
Yeah.
But we had a nice school, and I remember it was a 2-story squarish building. I remember that, and each grade had I think the 1st and 2nd grade were in the same room. There weren't that many kids, I think the 3rd, 4th, and like that, 5th and 6th. And then they had high school was a bigger room, and they had all 4 grades of high school in that one room.
Oh, wow. So K through 12, all in the same school. That's amazing.
Yeah,
wow.
It was.
It was a small town. Did you, were you close to the school? Did you walk to school or?
All the time, yes. We had to dress warm, and in the wintertime, that meant snow pants.
Yeah.
Heavy jackets, and
I'm sure North Dakota, that's...
Yeah, in North Dakota, it's very, very cold. Lots of snow. And I remember one time, I don't know if it was Sunday school or school. It must have been Sunday school. And I was about 8, I suppose. I wanted to go. And my mom said, no, it's too cold out. And and it's really icy. You don't want to go. And we had a slough not too far from my house. We had to cross on its bridge. And so I told my mom, I said, I want to go. And she said, well, okay, if you want to try to get there because it's too icy. Anyway, she said she looked out, and here I was on my hands and knees crossing the bridge because it was so icy.
Oh, wow.
But I got there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I've been to North Dakota to visit you, obviously, and I know how brutal those winters can get, so that's crazy. Were there any fads that you can remember in school, things that were like trendy that all the kids did?
No, that came later, Chris.
Okay.
Nothing that I recall in this little town like that.
Yeah,
No.
seems like a really simple life.
Yeah.
Huh.
It was very good, very good.
How long were you in Munich for?
Let's see, in 1941. So I was about 11, I guess, when we moved to Devil's Lake, North Dakota.
Okay.
And, well, there was a lot of things that led up to that, too. My second brother, not the oldest brother, but the second brother, after he graduated high school, he joined the Navy. He was home once on furlough or leave, I guess would call for the Navy. They call it leave.
Was this around like World War I or II, or?
Right before.
Okay.
Right before.
Wow.
Yeah. And anyway, that February 1942, he was killed in a North Atlantic storm, and his ship was broken up, and you know,
Oh,
and
wow.
he was killed in that.
I can't even imagine what, I mean, I know of the Titanic and that disaster, but I can't imagine with like the technology of shipbuilding around that time, like
Yeah.
they probably weren't that safe.
That's true. That's very true. As I've heard later, I have a book that covers that what do you call it?
Disaster?
Disaster, yes. And it was not a really great ship that he was on. The USS Truxtun was the name of it. And there were 3 ships that went down that were broken up in the storm. His was not the only ship that was lost, yeah. There were 2 others. That led up to, I think, to my parents deciding to leave Munich and go to Devil's Lake. I think that helped them decide that, yeah.
So you moved to Devil's Lake at 13, you're moving into a new town.
Yes, I was just starting junior high school. I'll never forget that.
And Devil's Lake, it's a bigger town, right?
It's a little bigger town, about 8,000 people,
Yeah,
which was big to us.
Yeah, like, would you say that Munich was like 300 or?
126 or 130, something like that.
Oh, wow.
People, 100, not 1,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a big city for us, yeah.
So they must have had different schools, junior high, high school, in the school system?
In Devil's Lake, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, I remember I'd always been a good student, and when I went in to see the principal to register for junior high school, and she says, you don't have very good grades, do you? And I had all A's.
She said that to you?
I had all A's and B's, yeah. No, she was joking.
Oh.
She was joking, yeah. Anyway, that was my initiation into the schools at Devil's Lake.
Yeah.
And it was a good school system. And I graduated there from 1948 from high school.
Wow. That's amazing. What was your favorite memory of Devil's Lake and going to school there?
My favorite memory?
Yeah.
Oh my, so many of them. Met a lot of new friends, of course, and I had a wonderful time in school. I loved school.
Did you have
a lot of good friends?
Yeah.
First boyfriend and that type of thing, you know.
Oh, tell me about that.
Oh.
We're getting
Not
into
too
the
much
juice.
to tell. Not too much to tell. He was a couple of years ahead of me in school, and
high school sweetheart?
and we just got to be good friends. And yeah, of course that had to break up too, you know, when I went away to school, and that was the end of that. But it's the way life is.
Yeah. Where did you go to school? College?
I'm sorry?
You said you went to college after that?
I went to business school in Fargo.
Okay, nice. Did you have like an idea for what you wanted to do, or you're kind of?
I look forward to being a secretary. Oh my goodness, that would have been wonderful to be a secretary.
Oh yeah?
Which I never really was. I was a bookkeeper different times, but never anybody's secretary. But I had taken shorthand in high school and stuff, and I was preparing.
Yeah, I took shorthand
never
too.
quite worked out that way, but yeah.
Shorthand, that was
Yeah.
That was a whole course. I remember
You
that.
bet it was, yeah.
I took that as well.
Yep. 2
Interesting.
years of that I think I did in high school, yeah.
2 years of shorthand.
Mm-hmm.
Woo.
That was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, this was before computers, so man, that was like how you took notes really fast.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But now we have computers and AI.
There you go.
You said you were a bookkeeper after school? After you graduated business school?
I did books, yeah. I was not considered a CPA, anything like that. I mean, I took bookkeeping in high school and stuff, and I did that for small businesses, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice.
That I worked for, yeah. I worked for an insurance company, and in fact, while I was going to business school, I worked for this insurance company. It wasn't that much bookkeeping or anything, but I mean, it was just doing stuff that the real secretary didn't want to do.
Yeah.
That's what I did, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then did you stay in Fargo after that? Were you working in Fargo after you graduated business school, or how did you come to move to Grand Forks, and how did you meet Vince?
That's a good question. I met Vince shortly before I left Devil's Lake for business school in Fargo.
Okay, so we missed that part.
Yeah.
That was an important part. You should have stopped me.
Yes, missed that part. Because when I was in high school, I was a cashier in the theater. Mm-hmm. And Vince came to be assistant manager of one of the theaters in Devil's Lake. And so that's how I met Vince.
Okay,
and,
wow.
Yeah. And then not too long after that, was just a few weeks after I met him, that I went to Fargo for business school. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then did he come down with you, or?
No, then he went back to St. Cloud, where he was managing a theater down there. Oh, maybe 2 or 3 times during the year he came to Fargo for a weekend or whatever, and so we got to know each other really well and got to love each other.
At what point did you decide to move to Grand Forks, or what?
Oh, there's so much in between there.
Oh, yeah. Is there? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's back up.
So much in between there, Chris. We decided, Vince came down, I remember, and we decided we were going to get married that next December of 49. Mm-hmm. I graduated high school in 48, so this was 49. And December 6th, we were married in Fargo at Grace Lutheran Church. After we were married, we lived in St. Cloud for a while, and then he was transferred to Duluth. We lived there for a short time, and then we were there like 6 months, and they were going to transfer him someplace else. And I said, I don't like this, moving every 6 months. And I said, I think we're going to go to Devil's Lake. We're going to find you a job there and see if you can, we can get out of this moving every 6 months, which we did.
When did he actually join the military? Do you know?
I'm sorry?
When did Grandpa join the military?
Early 40s, 40, 41, 42, I suppose.
Okay. Well, that you're talking about moving around. That's while he was in the military?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he wasn't. No, he was out of the military at that time. But he'd been in the military 2 or 3 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Been in the Philippines. Right before the war ended in the Pacific, he was in Japan at that time. It was after that he came to Devil's Lake as a theater manager.
Gotcha.
And, every 6 months or so, they'd say, you're going to move to whatever, whether you want to or not. If you wanted the job, you went.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, I said, this is the end of that. We lived in Devil's Lake. He worked for Gamble Robinson, grocery supplier for the grocery stores.
Okay.
And they had all kinds of, canned goods and all that stuff. In fact, I worked 1 or 2 early mornings a week. I went down and stamped cigarettes in their basement. Vince worked for them and delivered groceries and stuff to the stores. And then he also worked as a projectionist at the theater. He knew how to do that. That was one of his GI training after he got out of service. That was one of the things that he learned to do. Mm-hmm. Be a theater not a theater manager, but a projectionist in the theater. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And so that's what he was doing besides working for Gamble Robinson, delivering groceries and stuff. He was working part-time as a projectionist in the theater. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must have been so crazy having to feed the film into the projectors back in the day.
Yeah, and he did that for quite a while. And Vince knew or found out that this friend of his from Montevideo, where he was born and raised, was living in Grand Forks. He worked for a company that sold adding machines and not computers, adding machines and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And so they talked us into moving to Grand Forks from Devil's Lake. which we did. And we lived in Grand Forks for almost 50 years, I think, after that.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then you, in Grand Forks, you were always living in the same house, or?
No, we moved into an apartment, lived there for a number of years, yeah. And then we bought this little house, in Grand Forks.
What were you doing for work at that point? You were still a bookkeeper,
what
or?
was I doing? I worked for a Singer sewing machine company, which I loved. I loved that.
Nice.
Wasn't there that long, but it was interesting. Got my first sewing machine. Bought my first sewing machine there. Still have it.
Is that where you learned to crochet?
No. I don't crochet. I knit, but I don't
knit.
crochet.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that goes way back. That goes way back to Munich.
Okay. Wow.
When I learned to knit, it was during the beginning of the war, and there was a lady in Munich that was a expert knitter, and so she taught my sister and I how to knit. We worked on this sweater, and I'm sure that when we got done with the sweater, she took it all apart and redid it. But that's what we learned. We learned to knit, yeah. But that was back in Munich. That's a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thought you learned pretty well. You taught me pretty well. Teaching me. I remember when I was a kid visiting you in the summer. You were trying to teach me how to knit a scarf.
To knit, yeah.
I thought I did okay.
I forgot about that. Yeah. But anyway, I
didn't mean to sidetrack you.
I taught a lot of kids to knit. Sometimes there'd be like 4, 5, 6 kids all lined up on the Davenport in the living room learning how to knit. I don't know if any of them ever kept it up or not, but it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. And I've made a lot of things. I've knit a lot of things. You know.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Afghans and sweaters and everything. Yeah.
I remember it being where you were the master. So.
Well, anyway, it was fun.
Yeah. So sorry, I didn't mean to. We sidetracked. You were talking about the sewing shop that you were working at.
Oh, the Singer sewing machine?
Yeah.
Well, I was there, and like I said, I wasn't there too long. Most of the jobs that I had were part-time jobs. I did not ever work full-time, ever. And
was Grandpa, did he have a different job when you were?
Yeah. After when we moved to Grand Forks, he got a job with Northern States Power at that time.
Okay.
Which is now XL Energy.
Yeah.
But anyway, he worked for NSP for 30-some years, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But they merged with another 2 or 3 companies, and they became XL Energy instead of Northern States Power. Yeah. Good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But he was an accountant for the company.
I have so many questions about Grand Forks. Before we go there, though, I'm curious. Your last name Reed. Where did Reed come from? What's the history of the family?
Of course, that was Vince's name. My name was Summer.
Yeah. Okay.
My name was Summer before that.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Huh?
Let's hear it.
Well, Summer. That was my dad's name, of course. Mm-hmm. But his middle name was Pierce. I can remember when I was quite young, and I'd heard people talk about pierced ears and all this type of thing, and I said, "That's my dad's name, Pierce." No, I said, "What's the deal?" So then I don't remember if Dad told me. He said, "Well, that was back in St. John, where I was born, and my grandma and grandpa lived there. Evidently, they were connected to the Franklin Pierce family that was a president, and that's how he got the name Pierce, because he was. I don't remember what the relationship was there. I'd have to go back and look through my stuff, but anyway." That's how he got the name Pierce, because there was a connection between Franklin Pierce, the president, and his family, and so he got the name Pierce.
Nice.
And my brother Don, he named his son Gregory Pierce. Yeah, that's right. Gregory Pierce still lives in California. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
That was my dad's grandson. Yeah.
It gets so confusing when you look back at the family tree.
I know it is, but I was trying to get that back together. I knew there was somebody that was named Pierce after my dad, and my brother Don's son in California that named his boy Gregory Pierce. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then in Grand Forks, how many years were you there total? You were there quite a while. You said you didn't move into the house for a while. You started out living in an apartment, or? Yeah,
we lived in this apartment. It was upstairs apartment. It was a nice apartment, but it was up this big, long staircase. I'll never forget that. When we moved from Devil's Lake to Grand Forks, I had this wonderful old electric stove. It weighed a ton, and I'll never forget
You had to carry that up the stairs? Oh, wow.
Oh my God! I said that was terrible. Yeah, but it was a wonderful old stove. It was an old Monarch stove, I think it was called Monarch. Yeah. Yeah, we lived in an apartment. Then we bought this little house on Fenton Avenue. That's the one you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we lived there for a long, long time.
Lots of good memories coming to visit you in that house.
Yeah, lots of good memories.
And what was your favorite thing of that neighborhood?
All the kids.
Yeah.
Oh my God, all the kids. I think we had enough kids in that neighborhood for a whole city, I think. That was good. It was a wonderful place. We lived in Riverside Park, just a couple blocks from the park, and the kids spent the whole summer in the park and swimming pool. And
I remember the swimming pool.
It was wonderful, yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
It was a wonderful place to raise kids, yeah.
What was your favorite memory of having both Alan and our mom?
Oh my goodness, how could you ever say a favorite time, Chris?
What was it like having two kids in the house?
Very different, yeah, but it was good.
One of your happiest memories of
Oh my
the
goodness.
kids?
Well, they're all happy, especially Christmas time, and we didn't have that before, it was just Vince and I, and go home to mom and dad's and hear my sister's kids were there and having a good time. And
to Devil's Lake? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, they were still living in Devil's Lake, and it was good. It was good, yeah. And there's always bad times, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But basically good times, and of course, mom and dad had this lake property, so we always had a lot of good fun at the lake.
Yeah.
In the summer times, yeah.
Nice. I was supposed to ask you about the lake house.
Yeah.
Is it a lake house or a cabin? Or?
It was a cabin, yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. It was just a little shack to start out with, and then they built it, added on to it, made a nice home out of it.
And
a lake place. It was not fancy. It was just a lake place.
Okay. That wasn't that was more of like a summer thing, or?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, North Dakota. It's definitely summer.
Yeah.
Wintertime. Yeah, and the wintertime is pretty cold. You don't go to the lake unless you go ice fishing or something. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember so many summers coming up to Maple Lake. Same sort of thing, I imagine. Like, what was your favorite memory of Devil's Lake?
Oh my.
Or favorite thing to do there?
Ooh, favorite thing to do, and there wasn't that much to do. I'll tell you that. Movies, I guess. Like I said, I was a cashier for the last 3 years. I was in high school. I cashiered. Of course, that was, year round. That wasn't just sort of school time. It was, that was wonderful. I enjoyed that. I worked at the B Theater first, learned how to be a cashier. And then in the summertime, then I worked in the A Theater, afternoons and stuff. And
yeah, I think we're glossing over being a cashier back in your day. It was a lot different than it is now.
Oh, that's for sure.
Now we have credit cards and Bitcoin and all this crazy digital
Nothing
currency.
Like that. I remember Saturday afternoons when all the little kids would come with their 12 cents to go to the movies. Yeah, at the B Theater, that was, yeah. Every Saturday afternoon. Sometimes they'd have 2 movies, special for the kids. That was good. I liked that. I loved being a cashier. And then, of course, in the A Theater, the big theater, they were 50 cents.
So this is the premium experience.
The tickets were 50 cents, yes.
Ooh.
35 cents in the afternoon, if I remember right. 50 cents in the evening and Sundays, yeah.
Was it because it was just a bigger theater, or did they show better movies, or what?
Yeah.
Better movies?
Yeah, better movies,
Okay.
and bigger theater, bigger audiences and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
And the B Theater was just a smaller theater, like they showed more westerns and that type of thing, yeah. Cheaper movies, yeah.
Yeah. Going back to Grand Forks, I know this is like a little ways down the line, but do you remember the flood?
The flood?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I do.
I would love to hear about it.
Well, the flood. How should I start? We had a terrible winter, and we had over 100 inches of snow, which was really, really a lot of snow for Grand Forks. And
that's a lot for anywhere.
In North Dakota, the snow stays. It doesn't, you don't get it and it melts and then you start over again. It piles up like this, and pretty soon the snow is so high that you couldn't see when you got to the intersections. You had to sneak out to see if there was something coming. Sometimes some caught you, but we got caught one time. Yeah, a guy was coming so fast and he hit us, spun us around and, damaged the car. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, we had meetings and they said we had all this snow. we're going to have a lot of water. It was very obvious.
Had this ever happened before? This was like a new thing, right? Or, I mean, it happened before, but not to the extent.
Well, we had a big flood in 51, I think. Yeah, that was when Vince and I were first in Grand Forks. The years I got mixed up. But anyway, there was another big flood, but it wasn't as big as this one that was coming. We had meetings, and they said, we've got to prepare. We don't know exactly what we're going to have to do, but we've got to be ready for this water because it's coming. It came. It sure did. One night we got a call and said, you have to get out of your house. And we lived on a higher spot, and even though we were close to the river, we were on a higher spot than a lot of people in Grand Forks.
This call came in the middle of the night?
Yeah, around 10 o'clock, I think. Something like that. And they said, you have to get out because...
Did you know this was coming, or this sounds like it was pretty...
Well, yeah, there was flooding all over the city, but we, like I said, we were a little higher elevation, not much, but a little bit. So we thought, well, maybe we'll escape it. But they said, we've got to get out just to be on the safe side. You have to get out. We don't know what's going to happen. So we packed up a suitcase, and I remember when we got to my sister's in Devil's Lake, and poor Vince, all he had was shirts. He had no slacks in his suitcase. All he had was shirts. So we had to go and buy him some slacks after we got to Devil's Lake, but that's later on. Anyway, the water did come up, and we got 5 feet of water in our basement.
Oy.
Yeah.
What year was this again? This was like...
97.
97.
97.
Sounds about right, yeah. 97. I remember it being like junior high or high school for me. So.
I think it was 97. But that was a terrible flood. If you got out on the highway, it was water for 10 miles as far as you could see. No idea when the water is going to go down. Because the water was flowing in the Red River, and that flows north up into Canada. I don't know if you're aware of that or not.
No, that seems exactly opposite.
And of course, anything north of us was still frozen up,
Yeah.
So that's why the water spread out so far all over the countryside. Yeah.
Kind of like a log jam, but ice jam.
Waiting for the water the river to get thawed out so it could flow north to Canada. So we were at my sister's in Devil's Lake, but we went back to our house.
Wait, so when you were in Devil's Lake, were they giving you updates, or were you able to watch on the news to see what was happening?
Oh, yes, 24 hours a day TV coverage, yeah. And we'd sit up at night in the bedroom upstairs and watch the TV and see what was going on at home.
Yeah, I mean, what was it like? Like you probably didn't know what was happening exactly with your house, right?
No, we had no idea. We didn't know if we had water on the first floor or what. But anyway, then we had the fires. The water came into this one building and sparked this fire. I mean, I don't remember exactly how it happened. But anyway, there were like 3-4 buildings that burned.
Oh, wow.
So we watched this fire on top of all the flood water around it.
Ooh.
These buildings were burning, and they could do nothing about it. They had lots of water, but it didn't do any good.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So then when they said we could go back, we went back to our house, and thank God there was only, like I said, I think it was about 5 feet of water in our basement. Our freezer was lying on its back. I remember that. I always thought, if the water comes up in your basement and it would go out and everything was just ruined or water, but it would be sitting right there where it was. No, everything was like...
all moved around.
Everything was like that. Like I said, our freezer was laying on its back and stuff like that. So
I remember
that was a real shock.
Tons of stuff down there too. That was like a child's playground down there in your basement.
Yeah.
So quite a bit of stuff.
Everything was ruined, and but we were very fortunate because so many people had water on their whole upstairs. First floor. Yeah.
Wow.
Terrible. In fact, Lincoln Park, after that big flood, they closed it down as a neighborhood.
Where was that in relation to the Fenton Ave?
It was over on the other side of town. It was east of us.
Okay.
Yeah, east of downtown. But it was a really low area, and they had floods there quite regularly, and it was. But then after that, the people wanted to move their house out if they could and stuff, but then they closed it. They wouldn't let anybody build in there area anymore because it was always flooded. So
yeah, flood zone. That makes sense.
yeah, that was good.
How did you guys even come back from that? Like, did you like have to hire contractors to come in and pump the water out, and like how did you recover?
Well, we had a neighbor. He lived alone in the house next door. He and his dog. He pumped his own basement out, and then he came over, and the water just seemed to disappear by itself. You know what I mean? It just, I guess it went out. I don't know if it went out through the drains or where it went, but it, because when he came over, he said, well, there's not much water left in your basement. Did its damage, and then it was kind of gone. But whatever was left, he pumped it out for us, and we saw what the damage was and stuff down there.
Yeah.
But glad it hadn't come on the first floor.
Yeah, and that would have been so much worse.
Yeah.
And then did you have to like get rid of a bunch of that stuff, I'm sure, and like start over?
Yeah.
Or
everything, yeah. It was awful. It was just awful. And they told us we had to throw everything out that came in contact with the floodwater because it's such bad water.
Yeah, I would think like you'd be worried about mold and things like that, but I don't know.
Yeah, but they wanted to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
So he said, get rid of anything that the floodwater touched. You know.
Yeah, that's probably smart. And you don't know where the water, it's
right.
coming off the street, has probably like motor oil and everything else mixed in with it, and
all the berms and every part of the city were just loaded with all these people's treasures, because they had to throw it out, and it was awful.
Yeah. And what was the atmosphere like in Grand Forks after the flood? Did it feel like the community was coming together?
Oh yes, very much so. Yeah, I should say. Yeah, and people helping people. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah, that part of it was the good part.
I mean, it's kind of crazy how tragedy, destruction, how that kind of brings people together.
It does. Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Especially those people that lost their whole home, they lost everything, and it's terrible. When I think of the pile that we had out, and we just had stuff in the basement that we had to throw out. Mm-hmm. You think of these people that had to get rid of their whole inside of their house and start over,
Yeah, I remember some of the pictures. I think they did like a coffee table book of pictures of the flood, and I remember seeing like the really big piles of things that people had to get rid of.
I said people's treasures, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow.
That's for sure. That was the whole experience, that flood, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I did want to ask you about the legislature. I know at some point you were a state legislator. How did you decide to run for election, and what was that whole experience like?
Oh my, where should I start? I had run for election one time before, and I can't remember what year that was, and I did not win. It was hard work, but I lost. I didn't win that election. And this one night I'd been cleaning house, and I had to go to the store for something, and I knew that they were having a meeting, and I said, I'm just going to stop in and see what's going on, what they're talking about at this Republican meeting from my area. It was late. I didn't get there in time to start at the start of the meeting. And so I just kind of went up to the door and sneaked in, and somebody turned around and said, there she is. I said, what do you mean? There she is. Well, you're going to run for election for the House, because they had reapportioned the House or the legislature. And if you lost people, you might lose a representative, yeah. And if you gained, you might gain a representative or two. So anyway, this is what they were talking about.
How many representatives in the state legislature for North Dakota?
And well, at that time, now it might be different now, I don't know. At that time, there were 100 representatives in the House.
Okay, wow.
I can't remember what the Senate was, but you had 2 representatives from each district, 1 senator. Yeah, so it was like 50, I suppose, in the Senate.
Wow.
They started this campaign for me and another lady, had never run before, ever, from my neighborhood. We ran for office, and by darn it if we didn't win. But we were a new district. See, the fellow that ran for the Senate helped us a lot. He won too. So we all 3 of us went to Bismarck in January to be representing this new district, because we were a new district after the reapportionment. So that's how we got in the first time.
Yeah. What was it like running for the second time? I know you said like the first time you kind of had nightmares of how hard it was going to be, and
it was still hard. It was really hard. Yeah, and wonderful experience. Anybody who wants to do it, I think they should. Yeah, you learn how your government works. Meet a lot of wonderful people. I served 3 terms in the House.
2-year terms?
2-year terms. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you have quite a bit of experience. 6 years in the legislature.
It was wonderful experience. Yeah.
What was the most impactful or meaningful thing that you were able to do over 6 years working as a state legislator?
Well, if you have a really, really good idea and you get a really good bill and you get that passed, that is a wonderful feeling. It is, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I never had anything that was quite that earth-shaking, but I signed some bills that were really good bills, and kindergarten stuff, and you think about it, that was 76 to 82.
Like almost 50 years.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay.
But meeting all these people from all over the state, that part of it was wonderful.
Yeah. And did you have to always go to Bismarck for the legislature meetings?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wow. And you just drove back and forth between Grand Forks, or?
In the wintertime, of course, it was January, February, March, and just about every weekend. Sometimes it got 2 weeks before I'd go home. If the weather was bad on the weekend, I was not about to drive. Did fly once in a while, yeah. And then when the big flood came in '97, I lost all my stuff that I had, all my mementos and all that stuff were in the basement, yeah. Lost all that stuff.
Yeah.
That was heartbreaking.
Yeah. Hopefully you have a lot of those memories still.
Yeah, that's all I have, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow, what an experience.
It was a wonderful experience, yeah.
Kind of related to politics, but this is not just the legislature, but like any time in your life, like what world events have really, I mean, the flood obviously impacted you, but like world events that have impacted you or had the greatest impact on your life?
I remember I think I was 15, and my oldest brother was in the Navy. The second brother was the one that was killed. But my oldest brother, Ralph, was also in the Navy. I had to go to the hospital for appendix operation. I think that was in March. I think I was 15. And I got sick during the night, and Mom and Dad took me to the hospital, I had to have surgery to have my appendix out. I had an appendix attack.
Oh, wow.
And that's when, of course, I was in the hospital like for a week back then. Now it's like 2 days maybe.
Yeah. There wasn't laparoscopic surgery back then where they do holes.
No, it was real surgery.
Yeah, wow.
It was real surgery. But anyway, I don't remember who was up to visit in the afternoon. They said, well, what can we bring you? And just off the top of my head, I said, well, how about bringing Ralph? He was still in the Navy. Mm-hmm. And I said, bring Ralph. They laughed. They said, yeah, we'll do that. And I'll be darned if they didn't. They came up that evening here. They had him he had come home, and they didn't tell me.
Oh, wow. What a surprise.
That was a wonderful, wonderful experience. I'll never forget that.
Yeah. And a week to recover from an appendix surgery. Whew.
Yeah.
Now that's outpatient.
That's for sure. Yeah, I was in a whole week. And then I remember he came up to bring me home. I don't know if he was so excited to come and get me or what, but anyway, I came home and all I had was my little house coat on. Mom said, didn't you take her coat up with you today, bring her home? And just, she was pretty upset about that because she thought I was going to catch cold, but it was a good time, yeah.
Is there anything else about Grand Forks that we didn't talk about that you wanted to talk about?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I know there's so much there. I mean, those were some of my best memories as a child, is being able to come to visit Grandma for Christmas. And I remember I don't remember how many hours it was to drive up there, but like some of those winters on the winter roads, it was crazy. And but like being able to come up to Grand Forks for Christmas, and then I spent that one summer up there. Yeah. A lot of memories in the Fenton Ave house, and I remember like being able to take the bike out on the bikeway, and there were so many. Actually, Sarah was there. My cousin Sarah was there that one summer.
Yeah. Yeah, I caught heck from that, about that bike ride I let you take. Oh my God, from your mom.
Oh yeah?
You let him ride his bike to the university area?
Yeah, I went pretty far.
I think so. Oh my gosh.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, that was not a good idea.
Oh.
But you had fun, I think.
It was a lot of fun.
But yeah. No, living in Grand Forks was good. A lot of good friends, good church.
And then this is going to be a tough question. Do you still make, or do you still like graham crackers and milk? I remember that. That was our treat.
I never ate graham crackers and milk. You did, though.
Oh, we loved it.
Yeah, I know you did.
And we would ask our other, Aunt Joanne, when we'd visit her place, can you make us some graham crackers and milk? And she's like, no, we don't do that here. And so we'd always want to,
right?
yeah, we'd always want to come to your place because we would get the special treat before bedtime.
That's funny. That's funny, yeah.
What kind of music do you like?
What kind of music?
Yeah, this is the bonus round, so all these questions are going to be unrelated.
Oh, I like all music except I'm not crazy about a lot of the modern music, if they call it that.
We liked Hollow Coves. We were listening to Hollow Coves yesterday in the car when I was driving over. Yeah.
What was it?
It's folk music.
Oh, folk music.
Yeah, like the guitar and yeah.
Yeah. Oh yes, I should tell you too. When we were in Munich, that's a long time ago. And Mom says, I think maybe she'd like to play the piano. We should get her a piano. I was like 5, 6, something like that. Mm-hmm. One of the professors in the high school, he was a music teacher, I guess, and he was also a customer at my dad's barbershop. So he got talking to him one day about a piano. He says, well, if you get her a piano, he says, I'll teach her how to play the piano. And Dad says, I can't pay you for it. He says, well, you can give me your haircuts for it. So that's how I got my piano lessons paid for by Dad doing haircuts for the professor. Yeah. That's kind of an interesting thing too. They got this big old piano for me. It was a wonderful piano, but it was one of the big ones, tall ones, yeah. But it was a wonderful piano.
How long did you play for?
From the time I was 6.
Okay.
When we moved down here from Grand Forks, I gave my piano away. I shouldn't have, but I did.
Yeah, I do remember the piano in the Grand Forks house.
Yeah. When we sold the house in 2002, we got into an apartment. It was a brand new apartment in the south end of Grand Forks.
Yeah.
And we lived there for 10 years. When we decided to move out here permanently, instead of being a snowbird, I decided I didn't want to pay to move that heavy piano down here.
Yeah.
Many times I have thought I was going to get a piano just for my own enjoyment.
Yeah.
But I did. I taught myself a lot, played some really, really difficult music. Some of my music has disappeared. I don't know what happened to it, but I don't know. That stuff happens when you move,
Yeah. Well, it could be a good thing too. Like when you move, you kind of clean out and consolidate down.
Yeah.
So it could be a good thing. What makes you the happiest now?
Being with you and my grandkids and stuff, yeah.
Well, thank you, and likewise. Yeah.
I mean it, really,
Yeah.
really, I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What advice do you have for me and others? It could be like something that you've learned through the course of your life.
I don't know. You seem to be doing great, Chris. I don't have any advice for you. You're a wonderful young man.
Well, I think you did just give us some really good advice of valuing the human connections in your life.
Yeah.
What would you say are the most rewarding things about getting wiser?
Oh my goodness. Every day you learn something new. Every day. No matter what you think about, but you do. You learn something new every day. And that's life. And thank goodness that you do learn things new every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't think of it that way, but you think back later.
Yeah. I like it. Having a learning, just a growth mindset, learning something new all the time.
Yeah.
What are your hopes for our family? Like Ollie and Lou and Jason and Laura?
Love each other, help each other.
Sound advice.
Go to church, get to know the Lord. I think that's so important.
What is your favorite thing about going to church? Like, what do you get out of the experience?
Especially for people with children. I just think that they need that for a basis for their life. They have to
Is it
know
the values?
what Jesus stood for and the things that he did for the people. And they don't learn that anyplace else. And that's why I think so much of like we were talking about, where these kids will go out and just stab these plastic decorations just to do it, And I think that's, if they know Jesus, they don't do stuff like that. Because they know Jesus wouldn't do that.
So missing more of the values and principles in terms of education.
Yeah. Life life's lessons, that's right. When we were living way back in Munich, when I was like little, we didn't have a regular pastor in our church, and so it was just every once in a while when we'd have church. Summertime they would come and the pastor would come and have a week or 2 week, like for the confirmation class, the ones that were going to be confirmed. And that one year I wanted to go so bad, and I wasn't old enough, and the pastor said, she can't be here because she's not old enough. It hurt me, really. I wanted to be there, and I don't remember if I was 11 or 12, something like that. Then I went on in Grand Forks. When we went to Calvary Lutheran, I got in to be the Bethel series. It was a series of Bible studies that were based on paintings that were done by this one man. The pastor came over. I don't know why he picked me, but anyway, I was one of the people that he wanted to have this 2-year teacher class to teach us how to teach this class, for the church. So I did that, loved it, and taught Bethel series for 2 years, 4 years, something like that in my church in Calvary Lutheran. Yeah, it was a wonderful experience. It's one way I served the church. Served the Lord. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I always was a Sunday school teacher too.
Well, it sounds like you were definitely pretty involved with the church.
Very much so. Yeah. Trying to think anything else. Oh, I played the organ. Oh, I forgot about that.
You played the organ.
Remember, I learned to play the piano, and in Devil's Lake, we went to this little church, St. Peter, which is my church here also, St. Peter, and they had an old pump organ. Guess what? 12 years old, I was playing the pump organ in church.
Oh, wow. How did your feet even touch the pedals at that age?
However, I don't know. The Lord helped me, I guess. But anyway, that was a wonderful experience. And I remember when this pastor Rengstorff was his name, and he was called to come to serve our church. They said, oh, by the way, we have a 12-year-old organist. He said, what? The church in Devil's Lake had, 3 other little churches out in the country around the area that our church served, the pastor served. So every Sunday, we'd go to one of these other little churches, and I'd go along and play the organ.
Oh, wow.
Or the piano, whatever they had.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that for a number of years, too.
So it's like a traveling church band.
Yeah, traveling piano players, yeah, or organist, whatever they had, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was an experience, too.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Can't think. Oh, I belonged to Homemakers. Sang in the choir.
Oh, wow.
God, Vince and I both did. We sang in the choir for 50-some years in the different churches that we were at, yeah. Had big concerts at United Lutheran when we joined the choir at United Lutheran, and that's where your mom and dad were married. Yeah, that was always fun, too. Loved singing in the choirs. At Calvary, Vince and I were both in the choir at Calvary also, many, many years. Came down here. We never joined the choir down here at St. Peter. COVID came, and everything just kind of went, and we've never had a choir since then. We lost a lot of people, a lot of people.
Yeah, it was a scary time for sure.
Yeah, we've enjoyed it here in this park. Yeah,
yeah, it seems like a really good community to be around. It is.
It's been, had a lot of different experiences in my life. Did a lot of different things. Vince and I made 3 trips to Europe.
What were the places in Europe?
Well, we mostly went to Austria and Germany in that area because we loved it. It was so beautiful over there. And yeah.
Where in Austria?
Meyerhofen was one place we stayed. Meyerhofen. Can't remember the other names right now. Went to the Oktoberfest in Munich.
Yeah, that's big.
A couple times. That's big.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. Just enjoyed just being over there. So beautiful. 3 times I think we were over there. Yeah. And that one year we were scheduled for a certain week to go. It was like 10 days, our trip. And they called and said they didn't have room for us or whatever. And this one group went. And then we went within the next week or 2. We had a wonderful week. The weather was perfect. The time that we were supposed to have gone, it rained the whole week. We were there. So I said, thank you, Lord. It was good, yeah.
Well, Grandma, thank you so much for taking the time out. Like I said, you're living such a life of richness and fullness, and
that's for sure.
Lots of experience and advice that we can learn from, and hopefully strive to live as full and as
I
strong
hope it
as you
hasn't
are.
been too boring for you.
No, this is very exciting. Like I said, really exciting to hear more about.
Probably a lot of other things that I've missed.
Yeah, I think we got the highlights, right? What an amazing lady. I'm so grateful for that conversation I had with Grandma Burness and so proud to be in her universe. She's such an amazing gift to our family who continues to inspire us to this day. Grandma, thank you so much for sharing your story.